Mm-hmm.
And it's like, with what you're saying, like I forgot my whole train of thought.
It's okay. We can use this as a good spot to go into the next question. But the next question is, in your opinion, what has been, okay, we might have already answered this, but in your opinion, what has been the worst part of this pandemic as a whole?
This, I feel like my overall answer would obviously be the mass amount of people that are dying. But like truly what irks my soul and what's like really been the worst part for me is like, because in my environment is a certain amount, like, you know, you attract what you bring, if that makes sense in life. Like whatever you get out, you get back. That's what makes your environment, like your comfortability area. Mm-hmm. So like, for example, my comfortability area, my circle, and my environment would be, you know, a certain amount of privilege that I know that my environment circle has. And to see like people that live sort of like me complain about being bored, you know, going crazy and all these things where it's like, we know you're overreacting, but it's like there's people where they don't know what's going to happen next week because of financial situations. But your fridge is stocked, you've got a roof over your head, you got mom that's going to wake you up to remind you that you have school online in the morning, you have a home situation that's stable, that you're not scared to leave your room, that you're not nervous to just be in your house. And it's like, why are we making up things that we don't need to make up when we were in school, you were complaining about being in school. Now that we're out of it, we're finding something new to complain about.
Yeah, and like kind of piggyback off what you're saying, like for me, the toughest part has just been seeing people complain about not real things. Like, yeah, at the end of the day, I'm sad we missed prom and graduation, but there's kids who don't even get to make it to prom and graduation. Like, they don't even get to go to school and graduate and be bigger than that. They don't even get to experience things we're experiencing. These fake events that we've made up for fun for ourselves, they don't even get to experience. And trying to, like, you know, when my grandma calls me and she's talking about like, oh my gosh, how are you keeping up college? It's like, grandma, it's so much bigger than me. Like, there's injustices happening in the system right now. Like, there's people who can't go to work but still have rent due because America won't freeze rents like every other country will. Like, there's people who are actually suffering and that I'm witnessing suffer, but then people who think that I'm suffering just because I'm a senior who's missing out.
Right.
And that, I feel like, has been the toughest.
It's almost like we got like a go ahead suffer, like go card. Like, go ahead and just claim your suffering. No one's gonna like really come for you because like you're the poor people who are in quarantine. But it's like
the poor people who didn't get to go to prom.
Literally, we didn't get to go to prom. I'm sorry that's the worst thing that you could possibly fathom in your life. Sorry, that we failed you. So welcome to the other world says welcome to having something that you like away from you at the very slight bit really shined through with this pandemic. And seeing like people seeing the overall picture. This is normal. They've how long? Like, that's normal for a lot of living things. And
like, this is a regular thing for people in other countries too. Like, when I like studied in Bolivia, like over the summer, like 2 summers ago, they were out of school because of protests, because like the streets were filled with people and they couldn't go to school. We've never had that in America, just because nothing ever gets disrupted. You know, at the end of the day, the system carries on no matter what. And so now that our system is disrupted, it's like, oh my gosh, they could never do that. We could never close the stores, but it's like, it's exposing how fake our world is, how fake the economy is, how we can literally just stop it at any moment. And people are so reliant on it that they go crazy because there's no more that. And so.
Yeah, exactly. I think this just truly exposed the ignorance of all people in America, right? Because it's just starting to show light on how it affects our daily lives, how it affects us. right? And like you said, like what about those prisoners who are stuck in, you know, a 5x8 prison cell, in solitary confinement on months on end, right? And that's all they see, right? And the fact that, you know, I'm stuck in a 10x10 room, an online class for 4 hours a day. I can go out and take a walk at my pleasure. I can do whatever. I can go to Target at my pleasure. Like,
you're not worried about eating?
Exactly. Not worried about eating. Not worried about where my next meal is going to come from, right? So what about those kids who are in third world countries, right? This is all they have, right? They have one meal a day, right? They're living in a mud hut, right? Just because they have nothing else.
There's
right?
nothing else to the world. There's no
Guess what? They're not complaining either, or thinking that poor me, pity me.
You know, but you know what they do believe? They believe, okay, I'm gonna live to tomorrow. I'm gonna make tomorrow the best day yet, right? And the fact that we're sitting on here and we're lamenting on the past, right? Why did we even get to this point? Why am I still in quarantine, right? Well, in that really exposing, you know, our whole mental, right? The mental of all Americans, right? And that's what's truly messed up about this whole thing, is that, you know, we're starting to realize who we truly are and how, you know, how messed up our true thoughts are and our true beliefs are, because, you know, it's ultimately back to the main point, selfish, right? Because we have never been forced to think about anyone else before this point.
Wow.
This
that
isn't
was
like
beautiful.
the literal like slap in the face telling us to live in the now, then I don't know what is. Because like in our world, like it's all, we never live in the now. Like even if we say we do, because we live in the system that we live in, we really don't. We're always thinking about the next step or making the next dollar, or, you know, what the next big thing I can do to get my money in my pocket is, right? But like we don't have any of those motivations like pushing us right now while we're in our stay at home, while we have this entire quarantine and this pandemic going on. It's really just like, I wake up every day and I'm just like, okay, I'm on the class, living in the now. Our teacher asks a question, you live in the now, you're paying attention. And there's just like, there's not any, oh, like, what can I do to get that dollar? Because dollars aren't moving right now, in case anybody forgot. So really, you're just stuck with yourself in your brain. And like, you just got to figure out, okay, instead of seeking fun from all these different places, seeking all these distractions to, you know, keep my mind going and to keep myself going, you have to learn how to make yourself happy, how to fulfill yourself, like with just your hands and your brain, like in your house. That's all you can do.
That's something we don't know of because we live in a fantasy.
Right.
And that's why everyone's having a big meltdown, because, oh, you're telling me that this, you know, artificial fun isn't my whole life anymore, or this artificial like distractions. Like, no, that doesn't exist. Now it's you, your thoughts, and what you see, like what you actually are seeing in the world. Now that's all the facts that you have to go based upon, and that's what you have to live with.
And kind of the first time people like are informed about the lives of other people, since like I think it's like 16 million Americans have filed for unemployment, like something like that, super big.
26.
Huh? Dang, yeah. And so it's like when you read that on the news, right? Before we never thought of who lives on unemployment, who doesn't. It's like, wait, whoa. Right now, if our parents still have jobs, it's like, wait, that's a blessing that they even still have a job, because not everybody can work right now. You know, there's people whose parents have been at companies for years and they're getting let go, and their families are considered financially stable already before this, and now they're not. And it's like the first time that so many families are experiencing this hardship. And so it's like thinking of actually making ourselves informed of other people's lives, and what are the people around me going through. You know, if a family, you know somebody who's lost their job, it's just bringing dinner over to their house, you know, to, you know, show that you care and that you know and that you're looking out for them. And so like reconnecting us with our neighborhoods and our communities is like, that's, I feel like, the good part of like our overcoming our ignorance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, Raya, you brought up an interesting point about, you know, living in the now, right? When we all were at that Pet Fest, when was it, in February, we weren't living in the now, right? Because we were, okay, the juniors can win this one. We're going to win the one in May.
We got the next one.
Exactly, right? This was all about, right? On that Friday before, you know, our last day of school, we were like, I'll see you guys on Monday. I'll see you after this 2-week quarantine thing is up, right? We weren't living in the now, right? We were all thinking about, okay, prom, screw this right now. Like, it doesn't matter. Right. And this really forces us to slow down, like, okay, what do I truly want right now? Right. And that's when we bring up the quote, like, treat every day like it's your last, because you know, at this point, like, who truly knows? Right. So, you know, really take this time that we have right now, and it's kind of flipping the question on its head. But, you know, the really good thing is that, you know, we're forced to live in the now, right? Because we don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. We don't know what next month's going to look like, but we know what right now looks like. And that's all we have to deal with.